Let's try that again. I think the wind was screwing with my internet because it wasn't connecting, but what is up, Sword family? Welcome to the Teahouse. Before we get started on today's topic, I have a couple of announcements to make. Over the last day and a half or so, we've had 4 new subscribers. So obviously the word is getting out somehow. So if there's anyone new in the chat today, welcome. I am Bladed Thesis. And this is the Teahouse. Tonight, we are drinking Celestial Seasonings Wildberry again. I haven't gotten the chance to actually go out and buy any new tea. I've still been going through the sample pack that I bought back in, I don't even know, I think before Christmas. Excuse me. And the next piece of news is last stream I was talking about merch and how I bought a sample piece. And if the sample piece turned out well, then I would be looking into possibly t-shirts or mugs or hoodies or whatever. And the piece I bought hadn't made it to me in time for the stream. It came on the 21st of February. So I've been holding on to this for about a week and a half. Just waiting so I could show everyone. And of course, the people who paid attention noticed the thumbnail had the new logo on it. So you've already seen it, but there we go. Little focus. This is my new official logo for this channel. So now I'm going to be looking into possibly getting some t-shirts made. So if there's people in the chat that are interested in possibly having something that they can wear to promote this channel, it's coming. I don't know when. I don't know how long it's going to take. But it's coming. Okay. So we've got quite a few chats in the comments already. So let's go through those before we actually get started on tonight's topic. So first person through the door at 5 p.m. So half hour before the show even started is Joe Bachman with the Independent Creator Directory. Good evening, everyone. And hello, Joe. Evening, Joe. Evening, Foxy. And Kitty made it to another show. Hello. Getting everything set up in the other room. Yes, I was. And Joe saying hello to Kitty. And Foxy saying hello to Kitty. Good of you to join. Yes. Now I'm picturing Joe with all sorts of pink Hello Kitty gear. That's an interesting mental image. That was the giggle I needed. I'm sure it is. And Carl, hello, everyone. Hello, Carl. Be back soon. Have to go check on something. Uh-oh. And there is Dan, and I have to once again thank Dan for the absolutely amazing track that he composed for me that I used to make my Armory video, which I am now putting a link for in the chat for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. If not for getting to see all of my weapon collection, you get to hear that amazing piece of music. And Carl made it back. That's fast. Had to reset one of the house cams. Cats. Yeah, cats. And Carl greeting Dan, and Kitty is laughing. And good evening all from Trey. Hello. Going to have to move that camera out of their reach. They're too smart for their own good. Yeah. At least you don't have to worry about your cats being able to jump up and open your front door. Excuse me. That's cats for you. Yeah, no kidding. And Carl greeting Foxy, Joe, Trey, Dan, and Kitty. And Dan saying good evening, everyone. And Foxy greeting Trey. And Kitty, nice to see a full house again today. Yes, it is. It's always touching to see so many people in this chat after so many shows of only, me and Foxy and maybe one or two other people. So it's nice to see. Donna must be lurking or sleeping. And Foxy greeting Dan. And Carl says hello to Thesis eventually. Yeah, I got to it. And I hope we get a tea report. Well, while this is not my favorite of the sample pack I got, it's got a nice flavor to it. So, Thesis asked me to tell everyone we have a lot of wind tonight, so maybe choppy, and I think that's probably what happened to the original beginning of my broadcast. So far, it's been good, and Richie's here tonight, and I'm going to try this. Hopefully, I don't blow my voice out. Hopefully, I don't blow my microphone out. Spoon! Yeah. And Carl, look out, Rich has a spoon. We're not talking about spoons tonight. Spoons are not part of the pillars. Maybe next time. And Dan greeting Rich. And Trey says, no worries, we'll be here as long as there's a show. Thank you. That really means a lot to me, you guys. And Carl says, Dawn may be late. She's at that international show and food thing. Yeah, I remember that from last night. If she doesn't make it, she doesn't make it. She can catch the replay. She can watch, next week. It's all good. And Foxy greeting Rich. She said she might not make it, and that's all right. Yeah. And Kevin's in the chat. Hello. Looks like a few more folks than the last time I made it to one of these. Yeah, we've kind of blown up a little bit. Just a little bit. It's nice, though. I like it. Indeed, there is. Is everyone seeing things okay? Want to know if it's just not my seeing it? No, apparently, I don't know. Something was going on with the internet, and it didn't connect the first time I hit start stream. So, yeah. Looks good from here. Trey says it's good. Weird, mine would not load. We may have some tech issues. Yes, we did. And there I am. Hello. Rock on. New subscribers. Yeah, I don't see anybody yet, but my phone was going off multiple times saying new subscribers, so that was kind of cool. New subs are always a good thing. And there is Donna. Hello, everyone. Hello, Donna. And Foxy greeting Donna. And Donna greeting everyone. And of course, me. Well, of course, me. Yes, they are, Joe. We're growing. We are. I think I might have passed Carl on subscribers now. So, And Donna greeting Dan. Some T-shirts. Yes. Yeah. And love it. Yes. That is awesome. Good one. Yes. Looking forward to doing your commission and Dan Hollifield's commission this week. Good. I'm looking forward to seeing it. That's terrible. Yeah. Kevin got invited to the secret humor group because of me. So I'm hoping one of these days he has a Friday night off and he can come join the green room and really, really have some fun. And speaking of which, I have this on hand. So behave, people. See that? Yeah. 是不是鲁? Not the green room. It's right here at my fingertip. So behave. Why, thank you. Yes. Going to need something stronger than tea to get that image out of most people's heads? Yeah, probably, but, you know. And there's my video link. With your high-vis colors and pink together. Oh, Lord. Okay, moving on. I'll lend him my pink gaming set with the light-up cat ears. Oh, man. Oh, boy. There is an image I see floating around the net occasionally of a pink high-vis vest, and on the back it says, I forgot my PPE. Yeah, it's probably still visible. So, you know, there's that. That would be hilarious, Trey. Yes, it would. That would be awesome. Nice job. Yeah. That was a good spoon. Well, you know, I tried. At least I didn't break down into hacking coughs afterwards. Spoons can be a part of tea. I don't generally mix anything in mine because the fruity ones that I generally get are, you know, sweet enough for me, but you know, little honey in your tea. We'll just bring this up again. Yep. We're going to leave that right there. Okay, again. We're putting that back up there. Do I have to leave this up for the entire show? Come on now. Yes, not the green room. Congrats on the subscribers. I don't even try. Well, when you're doing something like this, I've found it's easier to have, you know, an hour-long discussion when you can have things to bounce off of people instead of just screaming into the void, which is basically what I was doing for my first 2 or 3 shows. Yes, not the green room. Uh-oh. Challenge accepted. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I said behave. I didn't say be good. Yes. Just mildly behave. As far as I know, we don't have any minors in here right now. And we've been behaving so far mostly, yes. Gaming set with light up cat ears is black. Why does that not surprise me that you have a gaming headset with cat ears? Shouldn't it be panda ears, though? Because you are the panda man? I'll try Foxy, but you know your Aunt Donna. Yeah. We all know most of the people in this chat, so I'm not too upset, but the sign is ready. It's right at my fingertips. Leave the sign up, maybe. Yeah. This show is not brought to you by the Uncle Carl Secret Humor Group, but the chat is brought to you in part by the Green Room. Yeah. No kidding. Might have to make it his green screen background. Oh, I could. I could do that. Let's see. I'd have to do it before the show starts. Damn. Oh, well. Okay, so we are now more than a quarter of the way through the hour, so it's probably about time to get started on the actual subject of this stream, which is, of course, the 4 pillars of Chinese martial arts weaponry, which are the staff, the spear, the saber, and the sword. Or, if you want them in Chinese, gun, qiang, dao, and jian. Uh-oh. Green room behavior is still behaving. Okay. All right, I'll give you that one. Cat ears is what they had on clearance at Big Lots. Yeah, well. Which works. Yeah, it works. Actually had a topic before the chat got him off the rails. No, I'm not off the rails yet. We do have topics most of the time. And next time, I've already decided that for the first time in 12, 13, however many shows it's been, we're going to veer slightly away from martial arts and go more into philosophy and talk more about Buddhism, which I haven't done a lot yet on this show. So there you go. Next show is going to be about Buddhism and some excuse me. Some common misconceptions that I have run across being a Buddhist in a mostly Mormon community. So be prepared for that. On the 16th is the next show. People have rails. Well, only if you tie them up properly. Yes, Rich has a point. Yes, Buddhism. So I hope everyone's looking forward to that. So, yes. Gun, qiang, dao, and jian. Now, why are these considered the 4 pillars of Chinese martial arts weapons? And each of them has I guess we'll call it a nickname amongst the Chinese martial arts community. The staff is known as the grandfather of all weapons because the staff is the very foundation of all Chinese martial art weapons. Anytime you're going to learn a weapon, you should always start with the staff. For a few reasons. Number one, it is immensely less likely you're going to kill yourself with a stick. You're going to bruise yourself. You can break bones. You can knock yourself out. But you're not going to kill yourself unless you really, really screw up. So the first thing is it's safer. And the second reason is because anything that you can do with a staff translates directly to every other weapon. The very first thing that you learn, or the very first thing you should learn when you pick up a staff, is the basic staff turn. Now, I just happen to have a staff right over there. Now, let's see if I can. And it's snowing. So if the net gets even more choppy, there you go. Try and get this where everyone can see me. This is your basic staff turn. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now this is a two-handed staff turn. And once you get good enough at it, you can really get it moving. And most people, if they've ever picked up a broomstick, which of course this was originally a broomstick, they know this one. One-handed. So that's your basic staff turn. So how do you translate that into a spear? You stick a blade on the end of the staff. How do you translate that to the Dao and the Jian? That is called a sword flower, which we have my Hanjian right here, which people, may recognize from my ad. So, same basic movement, just with one hand. This is a sword flower. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. It's the same basic movement. You're just doing it with one hand. you do the same thing with a dao. A staff is basically just a really, really big blade. So everything that you learn in staff forms can be directly translated to every other weapon in the set. Now, there is another weapon that is not part of the 4 pillars, but is part of the 6 confusion arts that all scholars should learn, and that is, of course, the bow, archery. Nothing is foolproof to a sufficiently talented fool. I've met folks that manage it. Yeah, we all have, yes. Not to be confused with the turn staff who work at Animal Restaurant. Yeah, well, very well demonstrated. Thank you. I've only been doing that for 30 plus years. So, you know, I've got practice. Very smooth, yeah. Wondering why it got so dark. Snow. Yeah. I just happened to look out the window when I was going to grab the stick. Does anyone else freeze? My net seems to be okay. Fine for Kevin. Fine for Joe. Fine for Dan. Good. Do that sword flower with long sword to loosen up my wrist before practice. Yes, absolutely. I didn't even realize there was a term for it until, God, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years ago, because I bought, where is it? Right here. I bought this Wudon Sword form DVD, and one of the moves in that form is called Jianhua, which translates to sword flower. It was just something that I did anytime I had a blade in my hand. And it started when I was really young, when I was like, you know, playing with katanas because of Highlander and stuff like that. Yeah, it's called a sword flower. And if you can do that, pick up a stick. You might have to go searching for one long enough to fit your giant ass, but go pick up a stick and do it with both hands. It's the exact same movement. It's the same thing. Net seems to be struggling. Uh-oh. That's not good. Love when forms carry over so well to other styles. That's why I've talked about it a little bit here before, but that's one of the reasons why I picked, Chinese martial arts, because it was completely different from anything I had seen before. And everything connects like seamlessly once you finally get to, actually look at things. Nice to see the ties between East and West sword forms. That's why I do this channel. That's why I do this show. Not freezing for Donna either. Huh. Try not to do so much so he gets more bandwidth. Yeah, it's probably a good idea. So, anytime I get a new student, I start with, philosophy before I even get to actually teaching them anything. Then we go into Tai Chi. Once they're proficient in Tai Chi, then we can start discussing weapons. And I always, doesn't matter what weapon they want to learn, I always say, we're going to start with staff. Staff is the grandfather. If you want to go straight from Tai Chi to learning Jian, you're going to have to go learn from someone else, because I'm not doing that. Because you can, even with like blunt training swords, a lot of them that I've run across at least have a fairly wicked point to them. And you will cut yourself. Or at least stab yourself. Speaking of which, I should probably finally introduce people to someone that I have talked about in the past. We're going to turn some lights on, though. Oh, come on, you slut. Hold on a second. Computer. There we go. I've mentioned to people in the past that I have a box within stabbing distance of my chair. So when I'm feeling like practicing, I can take the sword and just stab it. It's good for point control practice. And someone who shall remain nameless decided to personalize and name the stabbing box. So for the first time, possibly ever, literally every single side of this box, including the top, has stab marks on it. If I'm not directly poking it with the sword, I'll reach out with this and just throw it at the box. Yeah, there you go. She is named the box Stabby. And everyone here has now seen that box. Stabbity, stabbity. Yeah. And one of those One of those stabs came from my my Green Destiny replica, which is not sharpened at all. But the tip on that thing is pretty wicked sharp. LOL, yeah. That's my stabbing box. All right. Next pillar is the spear, or the tiang, which, annoyingly enough, is the same word, but a different character that they use for gun, which annoys me greatly. And tiang is called the king of weapons. Why? No, I'm not calling it stabby. The spear is the king of weapons because it was the battlefield weapon. That and that and archers were usually the first line of defense on the battlefield. Because what is an arrow but a tiny, moving spear? You know, that old joke that comes around every once in a while of the invention of archery is, I want to stab that guy, but he's way over there. That's archery. That can also be, you know, the spear. He is outside of the range of your sword, so you just get a spear. Now, we've already discussed going out and buying googly eyes to put on the box and on my Keurig over there. So, yeah. You want us not the green room, but you show us the stabbing box. Hey, none of those holes is round. All right? Oh, God, you're giving her ideas. Yeah, see? Googly eyes. Should look scared, or, you know, if it's masochist, it might enjoy it. I don't know. Spears are... I enjoy spears. I learned a spear form. Yeah, one. I learned a spear form. And pretty much anything you can do with a staff, you can do the same thing with a spear. The only difference is you're going to have a little bit different weight distribution because you have a weight on one or both ends. That's why that staff over there is an old broom handle, and it still has the metal nut on the end. And yes, I know, nut. And I'm hoping that's going to counterbalance once I get the spearhead attached to it. That's only something I've been working on for almost a year. I need a grinder, because doing it with, you know, this little sister, for those who have watched my armory video, trying to shave down the top of that staff to get it so it'll fit in the socket of the spearhead, it's kind of slow going. and messy. Now, the next weapon is the general of weapons, which is the Tao. Why is it called the general? Because that is your battlefield sword. In maybe way back in the Three Kingdoms period, in the Han or the Chu dynasties, you might see a Jian on the battlefield. But the Tao, especially once the new Wei Dao came around, that became the preferred battlefield sword. Because they were easy to produce, they were fast, and they gave you really good cutting ability for fighting on the battlefield. No. I have one Dao form, and I honestly probably don't even remember it. But if we come over here, oh, and Nick is here to join us. Good evening, and yes, Dao are a lot easier to teach large numbers quickly. Yes. There is a saying in Chinese martial arts that says 100 days to master the fist, 1,000 days to master the saber, and 100,000 days for the sword to master you. It's easier to teach. It's easier to produce. Glad you could join us. And this is a link to my performance of the Yanqing Shaolin Dao form at International Days. If you watch that video, and we have all the greetings for Nick, and it's really, really awesome that he stopped in to join us today. If you watch that video, you can probably tell that I was fairly uncomfortable performing that form in public because it's not my weapon. I got there ready to perform this form, which is the Dragon Springs sword. And when I got there, my Shifu, Jack, said, well, do you think you can do the Dao form as well? So, not my best work, not my weapon of choice, but I leave those videos up there to show people where I started. because those two videos were many, many years ago. And I could take them down because they're kind of embarrassing, because it wasn't my best performances, but I leave them up because you can't just show people, the perfect performances, the greatest that you've ever done. You can't hide your mistakes. No, you didn't distract anybody. You're always welcome here. You know that. Yes. Like, share, and subscribe. Again, I'm horrible at self-promotion, but it is what it is. It's getting cold. So, the last of the pillars is the Tien. And what is the Tien called? The Tien is the gentleman of weapons. Because after the Tao took over as the general, as the battlefield sword, the Tien started being carried by scholars and the high society people. It became a status symbol. It became the gentleman. And Dan has already liked, shared, and subscribed, and I really appreciate it, guys. I really do. It's a point of personal integrity to show your strengths and faults. And you have shown a while back on the Historical Fencing Guild every Friday at 7 Central, I believe. You've shown on your show my performance of the Dragon Spring Sword. The second link that I shared in the chat. You showed it on your show, and you basically critiqued me, saying that it was obvious that I was nervous and had stage fright, and it's true. But the thing I remember most about that performance and the Tao performance is sitting on the edge of the stage, just going over the form in my head over and over and over. And then the music hit, and it was showtime. And my next memory after hearing the beginning of my performance music is walking off stage. I don't remember anything in between. Excuse me. I don't remember anything in between hearing the beginning of the music and walking off stage at the end of the performance. Everything in between is a blur. I just went out there. I did the form. It was complete muscle memory. And then it was over. Donna says your early vids will help newbies understand that they won't be perfect when they start out, and they'll keep with it. I hope so. I hope that by leaving that up there and showing them that, yeah, I was a beginner once too. I was sloppy once too. You need to... I think I shared it. Maybe I didn't. And hearts for Donna, yes. Thank you, Dan, and everyone else. That's exactly why they have music, yeah. Now I gotta find it because I'm not sure if I actually shared it, and I probably should. But there's a picture floating around the internet. And I see it fairly frequently. Let's see if I can do this. Sometimes when you practice a skill that you're trying to improve, you might feel like you're actually getting worse over time instead of better. Common reason why this happens is that you've advanced from the stage of learning, unconscious incompetence, to the second stage, conscious incompetence. This means that you might start feeling like you're suddenly making a lot of mistakes. In reality, however, you were likely already making those same mistakes beforehand. The difference is that you're now good enough to actually realize when you're making those mistakes, whereas earlier you simply didn't have the necessary proficiency which is required in order to be able to notice it. You're getting better, I promise. Keep it up. That's how you feel when you start learning something. And at the very beginning, you're improving. And then you hit this plateau. And you feel like you're dropping off the plateau. But you're not. You're still improving, but now you're noticing those tiny little annoying mistakes that you were probably already making, but now you're aware that you're making them, and it bugs you. I have been, and I think I've mentioned this before, attempting for the first time in 25, 30 years to pick up guitar again. Excuse me. The music that you hear in the welcome video and in the countdown is stuff that I wrote, that I played, that I recorded. And the first couple of months, when I was playing again, I felt like I was getting better. And then after those 2 or 3 months, it's like you're missing this note. Your fingers are not at the right spot on the fretboard. I was probably making those mistakes before, but I wasn't aware of making those mistakes. Now I'm aware of them. very beginning of the countdown timer, I missed a note. And every time I play that video, it bugs the crap out of me that I missed that note. And when I was writing that music, I was probably still missing the note. But I wasn't good enough at playing or writing to realize the note was missing. Conscious incompetence. It's a pain, but please don't take that critique as anything negative. I'm greatly impressed with you and anyone else who can perform in that fashion. Not something my mind allows me to do. I haven't done it since, mostly because I have some personal issues with my Shifu and his teaching style and his requirements for being a part of his performance team. Foxy can't do it either. I get panic attacks. Well, the first time, before I went on stage for the Dragon Spring Sword, before I left the apartment to go to the theater to perform the Dragon Spring Sword, I took a shot of rum. So, yeah. The part of my mind that scrambles words and numbers does the same to that kind of choreography. Yeah. At first, you don't know what you don't know. Once you know, it bothers you. Exactly. And Foxy understands, and so do I. Once you're aware of your mistakes, you're going to notice them more than when you weren't aware enough to notice their mistakes. There's a mistake in my welcome video, in my ad. I slipped in the snow. That was a mistake on my part. I didn't plant my foot properly. I slipped in the snow. Every time Nick or Joe shows that ad, that one little slip, I see it. And it drives me nuts. And yes, the snow was slick. It's true. But that's all I can see every time I watch that ad. It's that one tiny little mistake. I've gotten no less than a dozen compliments from everyone in this chat telling me how amazing that was. How great it was. How beautiful it looked. But all I can see is that tiny little slip. Conscious incompetence. Dan says, thesis, that happens to me as well when I'm writing and composing. Being able to edit and fine-tune something is part of your gig. Once you allow yourself to dive back in and correct them, you improve. Yes. And I have. It's a form of imposter syndrome, which I am fully aware that I have. I have another little piece right here that I'm writing for the ad that we're making for for Foxy's ad. And every single riff that I've written has been remarkably easy and repetitive. But if you enjoy music, go back and pay attention to the guitar pieces. There's usually a verse, a chorus, verse, chorus, and for the most part, they repeat. The chorus guitar piece is usually only slightly different from the verse, and sometimes the second verse is slightly different from the first, but they repeat. Same thing with the drums or the bass. Rich says, I've only given 11, so to get up to speed with everyone else, it was a great job. Well, thank you. But when I'm playing that countdown, I hear that missed note. I'm going to go back in and, well, I'm probably not. But I want to go back in and re-record just that piece. But just like leaving those first 2 videos up on my channel, I think I'm going to leave that mistake there. Because I'm not perfect. And no one is perfect. If you're striving for perfection, you might as well be trying to run through a brick wall. You're not going to get perfection. It's just not possible. Even if you're the greatest swordsman or writer, composer, you're never going to be perfect. Embrace your mistakes. Enjoy your mistakes. Because if you're spending all of your time trying to be perfect, then you're not being yourself. You're putting up a facade, which is why I don't blur my background. This is my living room. This is my apartment. It's not perfect. I have a couch that I can't sit on because it's covered in stuff. This is me. This is who I am. And I'm finally, after almost 44 years, learning to embrace that. And everyone else should do the same. Think of it like changing up the theme song for a new season. Maybe. Since you wrote the piece, you know that you missed the note. To us, we don't know. We see it as if it were perfect anyway. Yeah. For the purpose of an ad, there's nothing wrong with making a new edition if you have improved. And the really funny thing is, that form that I'm doing in that ad, I have just been learning that before recording it for the first time for about maybe 5 weeks. So that 30 seconds is 5 weeks of work. Just getting that section to a point where I felt comfortable putting it on camera. 5 weeks for 30 seconds. And once spring officially hits, I think I've talked about this before. I plan on filming different spots, excuse me, with different forms for different seasons. I have my spot picked out for spring. Summer and fall are kind of up in the air. And I think for spring, I will do staff. And for summer, if I can actually get the thing finished, I might do a spear form for summer. We'll see. But we're over the hour. And I think I've at least marginally covered all of the 4 pillars. If anyone has any questions, they're free, feel free to ask. But Foxy and I need to eat dinner. I really appreciate everyone coming tonight. It really means a lot to me, you guys. I know I say this like every single show, but it's never going to get old seeing all of these lovely people in my chat now. I love every single one of you. Even if we never get a chance to meet in person, I know that every 2 weeks, you'll be here, I'll be here. Even if I sound like crap. Good show. Thank you, Carl. Yes, it's been over an hour already. Doesn't seem like it. Yes. Great show. Thanks for doing it. Thank you for inspiring me to do this. If it weren't for you making me believe that I have enough information, enough, I really hesitate to use the word mastery, but the ability to tell people what I know. You are the reason I'm doing this. So thank you. See everyone in 2 weeks. Yes, the 16th of March, we will be discussing common misconceptions that I have come across being a Buddhist in a primarily Mormon area. Great show as always. Thank you, Joe. Time flies when you're having fun. It really does. Does indeed. Went by super fast. It almost always does. Looking forward to the next one. And I'm looking forward to hosting everyone. Nick is an inspiration to many, and it's true. I have mentioned it before, but I ran across the Historical Fencing Guild channel because of Sword Sage. And I wanted to learn more about, HEMA, historical European martial arts. Because as I said during his show last night, how are you supposed to effectively fight against another opponent unless you understand the way they fight? Always a pleasure hearing you talk about your styles, your education, your passion. Thank you, Richie. I'm glad you stopped by. Thanks for this. 'Twas enjoyable. See you next time I don't have a show, which won't be next time. I'm just glad you stopped by, Kevin. I'm really glad you came. Agreed, yes. Mastery is simply a teachable understanding of the basics of any subject. You seem certainly on that path. Thank you. Really means a lot. One of these days, you and I need to dish about Highlander. Oh, that's something I could go on about for a long time. A very long time. Highlander and Conan and the Ninja Turtles are all what started me down the path of, swordsmanship. Same. All right. All right. So, see everyone in 2 weeks. I love you all very, very much. And 再见。